Every community has a story of origins, a story of survival, a story of how the past shaped the present. For Black Americans, that story stretches across thousands of years, across oceans, kingdoms, and generations. It begins long before the United States existed, long before European ships crossed the Atlantic, long before the first colonies were built. To understand origins of Black Americans, we must travel back into ancient Africa, a continent that was home to some of humanity's earliest civilizations. Thousands of years ago, Africa was a land of thriving societies, powerful kingdoms, advanced trade networks, and diverse cultures. Great civilizations rose along rivers and deserts. Cities flourished. Trade routes connected distant regions. Scholars studied mathematics, astronomy, medicine, and philosophy. Far from being isolated, many African societies were deeply connected to the wider world. Generations of families lived, worked, traded, and built communities that would leave lasting marks on history. Many of the ancestors of modern Black Americans came from regions of West and Central Africa. These regions contained hundreds of ethnic groups, languages, traditions, and cultures. They were not one people. They were many peoples, each with their own unique identity. Some lived in powerful kingdoms. Others lived in farming villages. Some were traders, craftsmen, warriors, or scholars. Their stories were rich and diverse. Then history took a dramatic turn. Beginning in the 15th century, European exploration expanded across the Atlantic. What followed would become one of the largest forced migrations in human history. Millions of Africans were captured, sold, and transported across the ocean during the transatlantic slave trade. Families were separated. Communities were disrupted. Entire generations were affected. People who had once belonged to different cultures and nations suddenly found themselves thrown together under unimaginable circumstances. Yet even in the face of hardship, something remarkable happened. Many traditions survived. Languages influenced one another. Music evolved. Stories were passed down. Beliefs adapted. Culture endured. As African people arrived in North America, they brought more than labor. They brought knowledge. They brought agricultural skills. They brought music, craftsmanship, food traditions, and cultural practices. Though many aspects of their heritage were challenged or suppressed, pieces of their ancestral identities remained alive. Over time, new communities emerged. These communities blended African traditions with experiences unique to life in America. A distinct culture began to form, one that was rooted in African ancestry while developing its own identity. This was the beginning of what would become the Black American experience. Generations passed. Despite immense obstacles, Black Americans helped shape the development of the United States. They worked fields, built infrastructure, contributed to the economy, and enriched the nation's culture. They created new forms of music, new forms of art, new forms of storytelling. Their influence could be felt across every aspect of society. Yet the struggle for equality continued. Throughout history, countless individuals fought for freedom, justice, and opportunity. Their efforts would help transform the nation. The story of Black Americans is not simply a story of suffering. It is also a story of resilience, a story of perseverance, a story of communities that survived and adapted through extraordinary circumstances. Across generations, families passed down values, traditions, and hopes for the future. Each generation added a new chapter. Today, modern genetics has revealed fascinating insights into ancestry. DNA studies show that many Black Americans have roots in multiple regions of Africa. Some also have ancestry connected to Europe, indigenous peoples of the Americas, and other populations. This reflects centuries of human migration and interaction. It also highlights an important truth. Human history is interconnected. The story of one group is often linked to the stories of many others. Perhaps one of the greatest misconceptions in history is the idea that race represents completely separate human groups. Modern science tells a different story. All humans belong to the same species. All humans share common ancestors. And all humans are remarkably similar genetically. The differences we see on the surface represent only a small fraction of our biology. What makes humanity extraordinary is not our separation. It is our connection. The real secret behind Black Americans is not hidden treasure, lost technology, or mysterious origins. The real story is far more powerful. It is the story of people whose ancestors survived one of history's greatest challenges. People who preserved culture against enormous odds. People who transformed hardship into strength. People who helped shape a nation while carrying memories of a distant homeland. Today, Black American culture influences music, literature, sports, science, business, and countless other fields around the world. Its roots stretch back across centuries and across continents. From ancient African kingdoms to modern American cities, the story continues. Each generation adds something new. Each generation carries part of the past into the future. The origins of Black Americans are not found in a single place, a single tribe, or a single moment in history. They are found in a journey across oceans, across centuries, across triumphs and challenges. It is a story of ancestry, a story of resilience, and ultimately, a story of humanity itself. Because when we look deeply enough into the past, we discover that all human stories are connected. And that connection may be the most important truth of all. Fade to black. Asterisk narrator asterisk. Many paths, many histories, one human family.